त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकञ्चापि नमामि विद्यै। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Pranams everyone. We are in the third chapter, Sloka number 30. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Mayi Sarvani Karmani Sanyasyadhyatma Chetasa Nirāśīḥ Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatachvaraha. So Bhagavan in this topic of Karma Yoga is summarizing Karma Yoga in this sloka. It is a very important sloka. The entire Karma Yoga is summarized in this. The essence of Karma Yoga is given in this sloka. After this, Bhagavan is not going to talk about Karma Yoga in this chapter. He is going to give more about the glory of Karma Yoga. Now we had seen Karma Yoga from various dimensions, various aspects from chapter 2 onwards. So here we will he has summarized that as a 5-point program. There are 5 points that he wants us to remember. So the entire Karma Yoga is given in 5 points in this shloka. Very important shloka. Now who needs to do Karma Yoga? Anybody who requires mental purity and who has a desire to attain moksha must perform Karma Yoga. Will Karma Yoga give us liberation? No, Karma Yoga will not give us liberation. What will Karma Yoga give us? Karma Yoga will give us the qualification to get jnana. What is required for liberation? Jnana is required for liberation. Only the knowledge can give us liberation. But for us to get jnana, we must have the necessary qualifications to be able to grasp this knowledge, and those necessary qualifications are got by or got through Karma Yoga. So here we talked about 5-point program. In the last class we had actually completed 2 points. First discipline was Mayi Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa. We saw Adhyatma Chetasa first. We took the first point as Adhyatma Chetasa. Here Chetas means knowledge, jnana. Chetas means buddhi. Adhyatma jnana means knowledge about Atma, knowledge about spirituality. One should have knowledge about Atma, which means one should have and be able to discriminate between Atma and Anatma. What is Atma? What is Anatma? So that discrimination, the right discrimination, is called as Viveka. Now here when we say knowledge about spirituality, knowledge about Atma, we said one should have a knowledge about what Karma Yoga is about, certain basic facts that we have to understand, the basic truths that is there in the world. These are facts, these are truth we cannot ignore. Or just because we claim ignorance, it does not mean it is not a fact. The first one we said, it is not that the action binds us, it is the attitude which counts. The papa or punya is determined by the attitude and not the action. This is the first viveka, important viveka. Just because somebody seems to be doing dhanam does not mean he will get the punya. The attitude behind the dhanam will determine whether he is getting punya or papa. Papa or punya is not determined by action alone, it is determined by the attitude. This is the first rule that we have to remember. Importance is given to the bhavana behind it. Importance is given to the attitude. The second one is Karma Yoga means doing our duty properly. Karma Yoga means life of contribution. Karma Yoga means life of sharing, not hoarding. Karma Yoga means I should never have this feeling of enjoyed something for free. I should never have this feeling of there was a smart transaction in which I gained more and the other person lost more. That is not Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means I am a consumer, not a contributor. I am not a consumer, I am more a contributor. So that is the second understanding of Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga means doing my duty, being a contributor, life of sharing, a life of where I seem to have given more than actually taken. This is Karma Yoga. The third thing that within this Adhyatma Chetasa that we should remember, the first one is attitude determines the Papa Punya. Second, we talked about the action. What sort of actions are considered Karma Yoga? Actions that where we contribute, where we actually share, where we actually do our duty. That's the one. The third principle about this Adhyatma Chetasa is I should have an Astika Buddhi. Astika Buddhi meaning Bhagavan is the Karma Pala Data. Ishvara is the Karma Pala Data. Whatever I do, whatever I get in my life is because Bhagavan has given me or Ishvara has given me as a result of my Karma Pala. That understanding I should have at all times. That nobody else in this world determines what I should get. It is only the Bhagavan which actually determines who or what I get. So these are the three Viveka Buddhi that a person should have when we are talking about Karma Yoga. One is attitude determines, second is what type of action, third is Ishvara being the center of everything. And therefore, when I perform anything, I should do with Ishvara Arpana. That in the second point, Bhagavan says, in the second discipline within this sloka, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. That is the second discipline or second point that Bhagavan wants to bring out here. And we saw this also in the last class. Mai means here Bhagavan talks about himself as Ishvara and he says Mai means at my feet or with me. Sarvani Karmani, all actions, no exceptions, all actions, Sanyasya. Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. Sanyasya means dedicating, offering, renouncing. Actual meaning is renouncing, and other kids offering all our actions at the feet of Bhagavan Ishvara. In other words, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. On our duties front, we must perform all actions dedicating it to Ishvara. That's why in there is a Siva Manasa Puja where we say Karacharana kritam va karma karayajam karmajam va shravananayajam va manasam va aparadam vitam va sarvameda kshamasva jaya jaya karunadesh madhavi. That's the last part. But there in the shlokam itself there is a word yadyat karma karomi taddat akilam shambho tavaradhanam. Whatever I do is your aradhana. So every action can be dedicated to Ishvara. Even the action of eating, we can dedicate it to Ishvara. And therefore, entire creation is manifestation of Ishvara. So every action should be offered to Ishvara. Dedicating all actions to Ishvara. So we have seen 2 points. One, if we combine dedicating all actions which are all performed with the Viveka Buddhi. These are the 2 points. Now we will have to see 3, 4 and 5. Before that, Ashish ji, you have raised your hand.
Yeah, Guruji, just going back to what you mentioned about that the karma when you are doing should not be done as a comparison that I have done better than someone else and hence, I have achieved more, the other guy achieved less or things like that, right?
No. So what I meant was, I said in a transaction, we normally in our world, we say, when you do a bargain or something with somebody, and if you have got something at a lesser rate than what, and you have gained more than what you had paid for, we consider ourselves to be smart.
Yeah.
That is what I meant.
Yeah, correct. So that's what I'm saying. So I can understand that, but when we are doing a deed, the objective is to do, how do we define that it was the best deed or better deed than what I did last time? What is the definition? Is the definition in terms of the overall improvement for everyone? Or should it be defined as overall, or should it be defined as it did not create a negative impact on anyone in terms of both the dharmic as well as karmic, phal? What is better? No negativity for anyone, or overall better positivity for the whole group? What is better from a defining a good pure karma?
What would be your example in this case for these two?
No, so for example, day-to-day office work, right? If we have to push the system, I'm just giving you a very simple but a very practical part of our office life. In pushing the system and getting things done on time, sometimes what we do is we push people to deliver something way beyond what is the norm of working, right? So for example, let's say, as per the SOP, it is defined that something has to be processed. If it has to be processed, it should get processed by, let's say, 6 p.m., right? But we engage them, push them and ask them to do it because we got certain things late, etc., and say, no, you need to finish it. We received it late, so you do it by 10 p.m. for me. Yes, the work gets done for the organization, for me, for my department, but it creates a negative impact on the person who otherwise would have been able to leave for home by 6 p.m. and spend time with family. For that person, nothing has come out of it. Let's say he's part of operations. He does not get any bonus by staying for those extra 4 hours and doing something. But he does get a negative impact of spending less time with his family and probably doing something which eases his mind, gives him the time to relax. So overall, I've created a bit negativity by pushing the system and getting things done. Is that the right outcome from a perfect karma perspective or not?
It depends on whether, you are doing it for whoever is actually pushing the other person. Are they doing it for their personal benefit, or is it for the welfare of the organization as a whole? if somebody is doing for his personal benefit, his bonus, his KPIs alone, and he doesn't care about the other person, then obviously it is not a right karma. But if he is doing that because this is the right thing to do for the organization standpoint, and he is not looking at his individual likes and dislikes, then it is okay. Then it is seen as Karma Yoga, because he is actually that person. If he dedicates this action, I am doing it for you, Ishvara, this is my duty. Of course this has come late, but I have no handle on this. I have no response. I am not the creator of this problem, but I should do what is right for this organization. That is why I am being paid to do things here, and therefore I am dedicating all this towards you, and I am asking the other person to do this. So if that is the case, then obviously the attitude is what matters. Again, it is not the action, whether you have made that person stay up late or not. It is the question of what is the attitude behind asking the other person to stay back late.
Okay. But it does leave negativity behind, right?
No, I mean every action, it does not matter, because I will tell you something. Even when we had discussed Karma Yoga earlier, we would have said, you might have performed your duty, okay, towards a person. One person's duty becomes another person's right. You perform your duty, the other person becomes unhappy even after you perform your duty. It does not matter, because you are not responsible for how the other person feels. You are responsible for what you are supposed to do, what sort of attitude one should have. Because if I will tell you, this works, I mean the way of karma works differently, right? The way of karma works in such a way that the recipient will get what they deserve based on the karma that they have done in the past. As a person, for you to perform duty, you do your duty to the best of your ability, dedicating every action to Ishvara. Even then the other person gets unhappy. That other person gets unhappy because the karma pala that he is supposed to enjoy is that of a sorrow. That could be the reason why he is actually having this. So you might say that I have done my duty, but the other person is unhappy. So have I created negativity here? No, you're not. Take an example of a doctor. A doctor does an operation with the best of his ability. The patient does not survive, and there is a negativity in the family. So does it mean that the doctor has not done his duty because he has created negativity? No. What matters is the attitude in which the action is performed.
Yeah, sorry, I do not want to become argumentative on this, but the doctor example and what I am talking about are slightly different, because in the case of doctor, that is a karma he is committing whose outcome can be favorable or unfavorable.
No,
that is an outcome thing. Whereas when I am pushing someone to devote extra hours than the required hours, I am forcing that out of the guy, right? So
that's why I answered both from an attitude standpoint as well as an action standpoint. The first one is, go ahead, G. Go ahead.
No. That's all I wanted to say.
So the first one was when I already answered from an attitude standpoint. So when the other person is being pushed, then we are looking at the attitude that you have when you are pushing the other person. Is it for personal selfish motives that you are asking the other person to stay back, or you are asking this to stay back because that is what the organization requires, and you are doing it for the welfare of you are doing justice to the role that you have taken up, and you as an you have been given this responsibility of getting the things done. This is done from an organization standpoint. If you are doing it for personal selfish KPI KRA bonus standpoint, then obviously what you are doing may not be right. But if it is doing for the sake of, as an organization, we have committed this, we have to deliver this, and that I have been paid to actually do this duty, I am doing it, and I take the saying that Ishvara, I am doing it for you, then it is it's a different thing. Then it is whether the other person becomes negative or positive, it will not come under your karma. That is what I wanted to say. So that's why I gave another example where even if you do positive things, it might result in negative attitude from the other person. So irrespective of whether, in this case you had said, okay, I'm pushing the other person and therefore there could be negativity there. I am saying, okay, what matters is attitude. But also look at the action standpoint. There could be positive action that you want to, you might have done. But that need not necessarily create positive vibes on the other side. And that's why I gave an example of where people, even after when they do their duty, the other person, the recipient of the duty, the person who receives this, may not be happy. And that means, will that mean that you have not done your duty well, or you will get bad karma because of that? The answer is no. That's why I wanted to split that into two things.
Understood. Thank you.
Venugopalji, sorry.
Yeah, namaste. Actually, I have a question on it's connected with Ashish's question and also the first point of attitude. I am not so sure whether attitude alone will decide Papa Punya, because are we not responsible for the consequences of our actions? Like, for example, to take a Puranic example now, Dasharatha killed Rishi Kumara, not really wanting to kill Rishi Kumara, but he ended up killing him and he had to get the papa of that and had to pay a price for it. And in the case example given by more contemporary Ashish's thing, even though he asks his colleague in another department, he's kind of forcing him to forgo his personal time for the organization's sake, yes. But at the end of it, like, if he's not taking steps to kind of make it non-repetitive, ensure the root cause doesn't happen again, or kind of ensure that this person is compensated for the extra time or such thing, his action will be blemishless actually. Because even though he may not do it for a KPI, ultimately he gets it done for the organization, and that is kind of keeping his track clean, basically, positively impacting KPI whether known or unknown. So I believe he needs to kind of ensure that this doesn't happen, or he gets the benefit of it, without which we are responsible for the consequences of our action. Whether attitude is right or wrong, we have a responsibility for the consequences of our action, I believe.
I agree. I didn't want to elaborate. Of course, you should be very, when you are asking the other person to do it, you will have to be nice to the other person. You will have to request him. All those things, we didn't go through that. And obviously, of course, he is adequately compensated. Maybe he's in another department. You don't have any right or say in terms of what or how much he's compensated on. I didn't want to go into those kind of details, whether those kind of things. But coming back to the Dasharatha example where you had said that, his actions determine, it's not just the attitude. Yes, actions alone does not determine is what I said. But the attitude from Dasharatha's standpoint in that particular scenario was he did it hunting. It was not for person, it was for personal thing. So the attitude there counted because he did it for personal enjoyment. He went on a hunting not because the ruler has to go for hunting and therefore it was necessary for the country. It was a Kaamya Karma. And therefore, in a Kaamya Karma, Papa or Punya matters from an action standpoint also, because the attitude by nature itself is selfish. So, there too, again, it is the attitude which had counted. It's not just the action there. But if you see, you look at Arjuna fighting in the battle. Now, Arjuna is also going to kill people here. But killing does not count. Killing is treated as Punya Karma here. Bhagavan had promised him that he will go to heaven even if he dies in this battlefield after killing so many people. Because it's not the action that matters, it is only the attitude that matters. Because he will be fighting for Dharma Yuddha, whereas in the case of Dasharatha, he did it for his personal happiness, whatever, that hunting that he had gone for. It is not for the sake of Dharma that he went for hunting. I hope I'm clear.
On the Arjuna standpoint, I clearly see he knows he's going to kill and he did that. And also I got the point on the Kaamya Karma, on this Sloka's point. And I just would like to touch upon the doctor example also. See, if a doctor undertakes a procedure and the patient dies, actually, so it doesn't survive. And if the doctor isn't doing enough examination on whether it was actually the iatrogenic, whether it was caused by him or whether the procedural lapses or whether the protocols are wrong, if he doesn't take a minute to even pause or not, for a minute, I mean, he doesn't examine whether it went due to any of his causes, like whether the procedurally whether we have to learn something or anything, or this was inevitable. I mean, this was. So if he doesn't do that examination and he just moves on, just thinking, okay, I did as per protocol and the patient did survive, I believe even there, like, I mean, the attitude was good. He just followed the rules. He just did. And it didn't happen. But I think we need to take a responsibility or look at why that cause happened eventually. The consequence happened eventually if we were an instrument at any point. Sorry, I maybe...
No, I mean, I can understand. But basically, when we say duty, then he has failed in his duty. If it is part of the duty and if he has failed his duty, then obviously it is not, I mean, he will, that is also considered to be an omission. But the only thing there Bhagavan says is, which is what Karma Yoga says, which Venugopalji you may not fully agree, is what it says is when you are dedicating the action to Ishvara, that you are not doing it for the sake of your own personal thing, but you are saying, Ishvara, I am doing my best, I am offering to you. Even if there are lapses in what you do, which we saw in Sloka, in chapter 2 itself earlier, even if there are lapses, it will still be okay, because you will still get the benefit of Chitta Shuddhi, because you had actually followed Karma Yoga. Okay, that's
actually, sorry.
Where we say, Swalpamabhyasya dharmasya trayate mahator bhayat. Where that particular sloka, Bhagavan says that when you do it as Ishvara Arpana, and you are not doing for any kind of selfish benefit, and you are doing your duty and with the right attitude, with the right motive, that I am doing it for, in this case, let's take an example, that I want to save this life and I am doing it for saving this life, Ishvara, because it's all part of your creation. This is what I have been placed here for. And if he does that with that particular action, obviously this lapse may not happen at all. And therefore, whatever he does, whatever be the outcome, he would be freed from that papa or punya. Both punya as well as papa. Okay. So that's the thing. He doesn't get punya also. Okay.
Yeah, here, but one challenge is in today's corporate world, and most of us are in corporate jobs, corporate settings and all that stuff. Like, we have a material goal in whatever we do. Like, I mean, we are driven by the kind of tasks the organization for which we work entrusts us with and all that stuff. And there is a financial incentive, direct or indirect, in anything that we do, actually. And where is the question of Ishvara? I mean, we can say Ishvara Arpanam like as a word, but is there anything what we do really towards Ishvara? I mean, I'm questioning it very frankly.
It is a question of identifying what, I mean, there is always we can dedicate it to Ishvara, because the question is, when we had signed up for this job, we should have first made our due diligence in terms of whether this job is, or whether this company is following unethical practices, whether I am being asked to do any unethical things. Then it's a question of in our hands to decide whether I want to do this job, I want to take up this job, I want to remain in this company, I want to do what I'm supposed to do, and all those things. So we have this understanding. So once we sign up, and then we kind of question that, I cannot do Ishvara Arpana because, the company is asking me to do all these things and I have signed up for, that's a different question. Now, once
it's nothing unethical, but what I'm saying is just transactional. It's all transactional. We do this, this is what the customer pays up, signs up for, we do that, and we pay. It's that kind of a stuff. Like, where is the service or the Arpana thing in this? I don't understand.
It is a question of, everybody is given a duty. So you have a roles and responsibilities. So as long as I do what I'm supposed to do as my roles, my duties, I am doing it properly without having any kind of selfish motive, without trying to bring somebody else down, without trying to following any unfair practices, then I can always dedicate all these actions to Ishvara. There is nothing stopping that from dedicating it to Ishvara, this one. So Krishna Nayarji, sorry, I mean quite a few hands, probably. Krishna Nayarji, you raised your hands first. You are on mute. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible now.
Yeah. I just want to make a quick point here. Is that neither spirituality alone nor material life alone be able for a human being to reach their goal. You need both the wings as a bird. You need both the wings to fly. You can't go with one wing, one side of the wing. So any kind of, because the more you are able to earn in the fair way, you have the chance to or opportunity to do more service to the needy people, and that is what you are now serving to the ultimate divine source. So so if you are doing everything fairly, you are getting better incentives, better bonus. Probably you have more opportunities to serve the needy people, and that is what will make God happy, and our goal towards spirituality much more easier and meaningful. That's just a small point I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Ashish ji?
Yeah, no, I think what I wanted to just add to your earlier comment responding to Venuji, I think when we are doing this duty, the Ishvara Arpana is purely from the perspective, first of all, that this karma of ours is also a karma in line of duty, both to us for earning and hence supporting our family, or giving it out as dhanam for supporting others. And secondly, for the survival, for efficient working of the organization as well. So it's a necessary karma because we are in that phase of life, right? We are not sannyasis and everything is devoted to just God.
Correct.
We are part of
we are part of this Grihastha Ashrama. Grihastha Ashrama allows us to yearn, allows us to yearn ethically, dharmically, allows us to enjoy also, allows us to share or asks us to share as well. So yes, there is nothing wrong in yearning. There is nothing wrong in doing what you are supposed to do from an organization standpoint. But as I said, we should ensure that our personal likes and dislikes, our selfish motives do not come on our way when we are executing what we are supposed to, when we are delivering what our tasks, what our role asks us to do. That's all. I hope it's clear. So we'll go to the third point. Third discipline, Bhagavan says. Sorry?
No, thanks. Yes, it's clear.
Yeah. The third one is Nirāśīḥ. Nirāśīḥ means having no expectations. Now this is going to be another point of debate. Okay. No expectation means what? Bhagavan says, renounce the right on result that come out of our duties. It doesn't mean that when I am actually going to start my work, I don't have any expectation on the outcome. So when I start my work, I have an expectation that this should be the outcome, and therefore I start this work. But I renounce the right on results, which means once the result comes, I cannot be fighting, I cannot be complaining that should have been the outcome. Why it didn't happen? I had done what are all the things that I should be doing, I should have done. I have done all the right things. Why didn't it happen? That right you have to renounce. That renouncing that right is called as Nirāśīḥ. In the case of duties and rights, when we are talking about, There are cases where we do have a duty towards someone. In our culture, we always talk about duties. We don't talk about rights. Because if somebody does their duty, the other person gets the right. Parents' duty becomes children's rights. Then later on, children's duties becomes parents' rights. And in our culture, we only talk about duties. So when we do a duty, Bhagavan says, when you do a duty, do not expect the other person to reciprocate positively. Do not expect the other person to do their right when their time comes also. That is also called as Nirāśīḥ. Bhagavan says, you will get what you deserve from any other source. It need not be from the same person that from where you are expecting your right from. And that is what is meant by Nirāśīḥ. So in the case of, so we have these different karmas, right? Nitya karma, naimita karma, then Kaamya karma. Nitya karma, naimittika karma means all our duties, whatever is that as a parent, as a citizen, as an employee, as a boss, as a neighbor, as a friend. I have certain duties. As a spouse, I have certain duties. Those duties you do it without expecting the other person to reciprocate. But when it comes to the Kaamya karma, when it comes to actions that are driven through because of my desires, I can still have expectations. But when the result comes, suppose when the result comes, take them as Ishvara Prasada. In fact, so sometimes when you do your duty, we do it for the sake of Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga means we say that as the result that I will get is Chitta Shuddhi. By doing Karma Yoga, I am going to get Chitta Shuddhi. Shankaracharya goes to an extent, he says, even do not expect Chitta Shuddhi. Just do your duty. Leave that to Ishvara. Whether he wants to give you Chitta Shuddhi or not, leave even that to Ishvara. I will perform the duty as what is required. Dedicating all my actions to Ishvara is what Bhagavan says, is what Shankaracharya says also. So, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirāśīḥ means with a clear knowledge on Karma Yoga, having that Viveka Buddhi, perform all actions, dedicate them to Ishvara and have no expectation on results. These are the 3 points now. The 3 disciplines. Now the 4th point. Nirmama. Nirāśīḥ nirmamo bhutva. Nirmama. Nirmama means nirmama bhutva. Bhutva means be like that. Be like what? Nirmama. Freedom from Mamakāra. Freedom from Mamakāra means, what is Mamakāra? Mamakāra means the feeling of mine. So Bhagavan says Nirmama Bhutva means free yourself from this feeling of this is mine. In other words, do not say this is mine, that is mine, this is mine, this is my house, this is my property, this is my car, this is my phone, this is my life, this is my. We can transact in things. It doesn't matter. I mean, saying that, you can still say them as long as you don't feel them. The problem is our feeling is much higher than what we say. The thing that Bhagavan or Ishvara wants to convey here is we can transact in things. We can possess them. But without the feeling of possessiveness. Without the feeling of this is mine. So what sort of attitude that I should have? We should have that attitude that Ishvara has given me these things for this life and he has given me on a trust basis. Because trust me, we are not going to take anything to the next life. And we have got millions of lives before. Hopefully there are not many millions of lives after. But we had not brought anything from our previous life into this life. And we are definitely not going to carry forward anything from this life into the next life. when I say anything, I meant material possessions, relationships. We are not going to, my son, my daughter, my spouse, next life, somebody else is there. This my spouse, my son, my daughter will not be there in the next life. So Mamakāra means this is mine. Nirmama bhutva means have this no feeling, do not have this feeling of this is mine. And Mamakāra has on two things, on relationships or people, this person is mine. If this so I get possessive on this person, or I get unhappy when this person is close to the another person, because I feel possessive. Relationships. The second is on objects. These objects are mine. The house is mine. The wealth is mine. Now here specifically, how does this Mamakāra fit Arjuna in this context? Arjuna is this feeling, this Bhishma and Drona are mine. They belong to me. And therefore, his view or his point of view is, they belong to me and therefore I will not perform my duty. If only Bhagavan had taken the chariot and placed it in front of Duryodhana and Dushasana, or Duryodhana and Karna, Arjuna would not have stopped. He would have just started on the war. He would have seen only enemies there. At that point of time, Arjuna would have spoken on Kshatriya Dharma and why he should actually fight this war, and killing all these people is good for everybody. But the reason he didn't want to fight the war, because he saw Drona and Bhishma as mine. They belong to me. When relations come under this Mamakāra ambit, our attitude undergoes a change. That's why we give an example, right? Suppose if it is a rental house, we would not mind, putting nails on the wall because it's somebody else's house. But the moment we purchase the house, we will start worrying about where to put the nails. Why we will be very careful about how the house has to be maintained. And the moment we sell the house, we don't care, because the Mamakāra is there. Our attitude changes when it is mine and when it is not mine. Bhagavan says, when performing Karma Yoga, forget the feeling that this is mine. Just perform what is your duty. Remove this feeling that this is mine and that is mine. So if they are my people, I will do my duty as what is required. If they are not my people, I will not do my duty, or I will question as to why they are not doing it back. Do not have that feeling. Because we always have different standards. There are standards for people and things that they belong to me, and there are different standards for people and things that do not belong to us. Bhagavan says, do not act like that. Perform your actions according to Dharma. So that is Nirmama Bhutva. So again, if you have seen, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa Nirāśīḥ Nirmamo Bhutva means with a clear knowledge on Karma Yoga, which is Viveka Buddhi, perform all actions, dedicate them to Ishvararpana, have no expectation on results, Nirāśīḥ, and with no feeling that this is mine, Nirmama, no Mamakāra. Now the fifth discipline, the final one, Vigata Jvara, Yudhyasva Vigata Jvaraha. Yudhyasva, you leave it, Vigata Jvaraha is the fifth one. Vigata Jvaraha means Samatvam, Shantihi, we can say calmness. Jvaraha means fever. Even in Tamil we say Jvaram. Jvaram, fever is of two types. One is Stula Sharira Jvara. The physical body, we will get fever, which is also known as Kāyika Jvaraha, because Kāyikam. The other one is Manasa Jvaraha. There is this mental feverishness. And the mental feverishness means the mind has got a fever. Mental fever cannot be measured. But we still use this expression when we are even in English, we use this. We say, I got heated up. Or we say there was a heated discussion. Which means the body didn't get heat. The mind got heated up. It was a heated argument, we say. So this Vigata Jvaraha means equanimity at all times. If you remember the second chapter, Karma Yoga, one of the definitions of Karma Yoga Bhagavan gave was Samatvam Yoga Muchyate. Samatvam Yoga Yuchyate means be equanimous. Vigata Jvaraha means also Samatvam. So perform your duties with equanimity, with calmness. Why Bhagavan says this? Because when we do certain actions, we become disturbed. When we do certain actions, there is always this anxiety, this tension. Anxiety because whether I will be able to get the outcome that I want. When I am doing an action, will I get my promotion? Will this person like it? Will I get what I want from here? Will I be happy because of this? This tension will also be there. Will I be getting a good name? Will I be praised for doing this? That anxiety will be there. Either we look for name, fame, or money, or power, or position, or anything from us, those contexts only. Bhagavan says, do not do that. Do actions without anxiety or tension. When we do for our children, I am doing this, I don't know whether it will be the right decision or not, whether he will be happy or not, whether he will reciprocate when he grows up. All this anxiety will be there. And our mind is always full of confusion, even when performing our duties. So Bhagavan says, do not do that. Perform Karma Yoga without confusion, with calmness, with equanimity. And then finally, the final word in this, the 5-point program is over. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirāśīḥ nirmamo bhūtva vigata jvaraha. Then Bhagavan says, yudhyasva. Yudhyasya. Yudhyasva means, here in this context, do your Karma Yoga. Swadharmam kuru. Because Yudhyasva, Bhagavan says, to Arjuna he says, indulge in warfare. Perform, get into the war. Why does it say? Because Arjuna's duty is that. Other words, Arjuna's Karma Yoga is to fight in this war. And therefore for us, it is his Swadharma to fight. So Bhagavan is asking us to do our Swadharma. So wherever you see Yudhyasva, you just replace it with Swadharmam Kuru. Do your duty. Perform your duties, as you mentioned in the perform your duties according to the time, role and place. You do your duty according to the time that you are in, the role that you have taken, and the place you are in. So, with a clear knowledge of Karma Yoga, Ishvara, Viveka Buddhi, dedicate all actions to Ishvara, Ishvararpana, have no expectations on results, Nirāśīḥ, with no feeling of this is mine, no Mamakāra, do your with equanimity, Samatvam or Vigata Jvaraha, you perform your duty. This is the essence of this Sloka. See, Karma Yoga, we saw Karma Yoga in many Slokas. We had done one small summary of Karma Yoga also earlier, a few classes back. Everything has been condensed here. Okay. Adhyatma Chetasa, attitude is important. I must perform Karma Yoga to maintain cosmic cycle and do my duty. I should have Astika Buddhi. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. I should perform all actions, dedicate them to Ishvara, and I should take all results as Prasada Buddhi, Nirāśīḥ. I will do my duty, but I will not expect anything even from the person who has duty on me. And on Kaamya Karma, whatever I do it for my own personal likes, I take the result as Ishvara Prasada. Then Nirmama Bhutva, I remove this feeling that this is mine, that those people are mine. I should not have different standards for people and things those that are mine and those that are not mine. Vigata Jwaraha, I do all these actions with calmness and equanimity without anxiety or tension. So that is Sloka 30, important Sloka. Now we will go to Sloka number 31. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto na suyantaha muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto na suyantaha muchyante tepi karmabhihi. This sloka and in the next sloka, Bhagavan is giving the glory of Karma Yoga. In this sloka, he gives the benefit that a person gets by performing Karma Yoga, by following Karma Yoga. And in the next sloka, he tells the consequences if a person does not do Karma Yoga. So this is these two slokas are basically the glory of Karma Yoga. First, he gives the benefit. And here he says, the sloka, Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manava. Ye means who. Me. Ye me means Bhagavan talks about him, my. Matam. Matam means we take it these days as religion. Actually it is teaching. Ye me matam. Ye me matam. So Bhagavan says Karma Yoga is his teaching. Or he is saying the lifestyle that I have taught you or I have given now. Ye me matam. Idam. Idam means this. So idam matam me means this teaching of mine. He, or rather who, ye means who, this teaching of mine, Bhagavan says, we say that a person must live the life by Karma Yoga. Now, question is, why do we say that? What is the benefit? Why should we live this way? Is all the questions that we will get. Why can't we live like animals? Why can't we do whatever we please us? I love it and therefore I do it. What is wrong in living my life? Why should I actually constrain myself with all these Nirāśīḥ, Nirmamo Bhutva, Vigadajvaraha? Why should I all constrain myself? What is the benefit? Why do I need to have this kind of discipline in my life? And Bhagavan says, I have given this. I have stipulated this for humans to progress. If you follow this lifestyle, you will progress. And Bhagavan says, it is not that somebody says it. I myself, me matam, my teaching, this lifestyle is given by me. Where have you given this teaching? Where has Bhagavan given this teaching? Not in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita are the words are taken from Upanishad. Sarvopanishad, this is the essence of Upanishads here. And the Vedas or the Upanishads are nothing but words of Ishvara. So Ishvara is in the form of Vedas. Ishvara is in the form of Gita. And then Ye me matamidam nityam, he who anutishtanti manavaha, anutishtanti. Nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Nityam means always. Anutishtanti means follows. Who manavaha, people. So Karma Yoga needs to be followed by only people. We cannot ask animals to follow Karma Yoga. It can only be followed by humans. If anybody could follow, then he would have said Jantuhu. But here he is very clear, it's Manavaha. Somebody might say, I am following Karma Yoga, but bits and pieces here. Today, this portion I did Karma Yoga. Bhagavan says, no, that is not how it works. Nityam, always. You must follow this always. That's why we say, when somebody talks about dharma, the first question that we ask is this dharma, is this adharma? No, if you want to take up dharma, then dharma must be taken up completely at all times for all circumstances. We should not talk of upholding dharma only when it suits us. If we are committed, we should be committed to dharma always. And the dharma is not given by some rishis for our entertainment. As and when we use, it's up to you to use it or not. It's not meant for that. Vedas are not imaginary. Vedas are not useless. So Bhagavan clearly says, my matam, my teaching, my advice. People who always follow this teaching of mine, that is what in the first line it means. Eme matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. People who always follow this teaching of mine, what happens to these people? How are these people who follow? In the second line, Bhagavan says, Shraddhavanto anasuyantaha muchyante te pi karma bihi. Shraddhavantaha means not just they follow with belief, with shraddha, with faith. Shraddha is very important. In the next chapter, Sloka chapter 4, Bhagavan says, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. Only a person with shraddha will attain jnana. So a person who believes in this teaching, who completely believes in Vedas, he follows Karma Yoga. Some people say, I want to give it a try. Let me see whether it works for this Gita class. Let me try it out whether it works out for me. It's sometimes like medicines. We would want to try out allopathy. If it doesn't work, we'll go to homeopathy. Then otherwise Ayurveda and all those things. Bhagavan says, Shraddha is the efficacy of this teaching. The validity of this teaching, you must have complete faith. Because the benefit, you are not going to get any material benefit out of it. You cannot measure this benefit. Okay, by following Karma Yoga, my wealth is going to be twofold. And therefore I can measure pre-Karma Yoga, post-Karma Yoga. It doesn't work that way. Benefit is spiritual in nature. Benefit is intangible, subtle. The mind purification, the mental calmness, it's very difficult to measure. So Bhagavan says, he who follows this teaching with complete shraddha. Now Bhagavan is giving another guna or character for this person. Anasuyantaha. Anasuyantaha. What is the meaning of asuya? We will see that in the next class. Any questions or comments? More on this shloka and the next shloka in the next class. If not, we will see again in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.